Hey everybody, it's Mark from Northwest Bourbon. Let's do a whiskey quickie with Chambers Bay. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping in and trying out another craft Washington bourbon with me. Alright, so today I have Chambers Bay. Chambers Bay Distillery is located in Tacoma, Washington, which is just north of Fort Lewis, just south of Seattle. I have 3 different offerings here from them. The first one they call their Greenhorn. It is aged for a minimum of 18 months and it's 88 proof. The second one is their flagship offering, the straight bourbon whiskey, aged for a minimum of 3 years, and it is 95 proof. The third and final offering I have from them is their Captain's Reserve Bottled in Bond. Now their Captain's Reserve Bottled in Bond is only offered once a year in a very limited supply, and it being bottled in bond, of course, is at 100 proof. Now I've been over to Chambers Bay a couple times, met Alan, great guy, really cool storefront, bought some stuff from him. I've been really looking forward to making this video reviewing Chambers Bay. Now Chambers Bay has a very unique aging process. They barrel their bourbons in smaller size barrels and they have them out on a boathouse on the Puget Sound. Now those of you that are not geographically familiar with the Pacific Northwest, Washington State has this huge inlet from the Pacific Ocean. Now down here towards the south of the Puget Sound is where you can find Tacoma. Now Chambers Bay Distillery has a floating boathouse that they have all their barrels stored in, so as it ages it's constantly rocking with the waves of the sound, and so it's only sloshing around, affects the aging process, just as Jefferson's Ocean taking their barrels out to sea for a while. Same principle. And so I'm going to be trying these in order of age and proof, because their youngest one is their lowest proof. So let's get right into it. This is the Greenhorn. Smells very sweet. First thing I smell is like cake frosting. Not straight vanilla cake frosting like the, was it the rainbow chip? The frosting that has little salty like pieces of candy or something in it. Because you do smell a little bit of spices with all that heavy creamy vanilla. There's a little bit of like corn husk or something in there, which I could understand smelling with how young it is. It's a very pleasant smell. It smells like somewhere that makes candy. Alright, let's go in for a taste. Wish you guys could see the legs on this thing. If I had a better camera, you'd be able to see the legs. It has some really nice legs coming down. Very, very light. It's not very heavy bodied. It's light, it's smooth, it's sweet. Taste a little bit of like a vanilla Tootsie Roll. Vanilla Tootsie Roll, like with the blue and white wrapper, you know? So that sweetness off the nose does translate to the palate. The finish has a little bit more spicier candy, but it's not really spicy at all. Let's have one more. I got a lot more butterscotch on the front of my mouth on that one, and a little bit of pepper towards the back of my mouth. But the finish went away very quickly and was really sweet and smooth. Not a bad balance. It's not terrible. All right, let's get into number 2. This is their straight bourbon whiskey. Rinse out. Remember to drink water. 95 proof, aged minimum 3 years. Ooh. This one has got like an apple pie crust. Like your kid ate their apple pie so fast that the plate is still warm, but they left the crust, like the end of the crust. Because the apple's not super strong, but it's there. But it's got a lot of those thick hard bread and baking spices. There's a little bit of orange and citrus in there too. So yeah, apple pie with like orange peels, zest and shavings on top of it. Let's give it a try. Okay. The greenhorn was stronger on the front of the tongue and not as much on the back of the palate. This one is much lighter on the front of the tongue with the initial sweetness, but the back of the tongue has a lot more baking spices, and that apple pie crust really transfers to the palate from the nose. There's hardly any finish at all though. After you drink it, you're like, yeah, I can just go in for another sip right now because it's done. Do still taste some corn on it. It is a little bit corny. The corn with the baking spices is not bad at all. So just trying to compare the first two, neither one of them really beats the other one. It's more like what I'm in the mood for and what I have. If I have both of them and I'm trying between the two of them, it's like, do I want like a really sweet sipper, or do I want more of a darker, more bourbon flavor? But neither one of them have much of a finish. All right, let's move on to glass 3. All right, this is the Bottled and Bond Captain's Reserve, very limited release. I got barrel number 126, bottle number 64. It says land crafted, ocean aged, and it's distilled from all local grains. And so this kind of like 100% local craft bourbon is just something I love to promote and review and talk about with you guys. This one's got some really thick, nice legs on it. I gotta get a better camera. Alright, let's go in for a nose on the Captain's Reserve Bottled and Bond. Oh, caramel apples. Oh, that's what I was hoping it would smell like. Good caramel apples. I can still smell a little bit of that vanilla Tootsie Roll in there, down deep. There's a little bit of spice on the nose, but it's more wood and corn than apple pie. I'm not getting the apple pie as much on this. This is more of like a caramel apple. Maybe an apple strudel, like the hotel pans at the buffets. Alright, going for it. Cheers. When it first hit my palate, front of the tongue was the same sweet vanilla and honey creaminess that the first two gave me. But as it settled in the back of my mouth, all of a sudden in the back of my palate, I got huge spikes of bitterness, wood tannins, dark soaked wood. Came out, it's much more bitter than I anticipated. I gotta get a second sip to see if that was just weird. There was a little bit more sweetness on the front of the mouth that time, but then it had a drying effect on the front of my mouth. But yeah, that bitterness spiking in the back is not my jam. I wonder how different the Captain's Reserve is each year, since they only release it once a year, when it comes to the temperature fluctuations, and, you know, the whole seasons and the climate and stuff throughout the whole year. I wonder how different the different years of the Captain's Reserve are, because I've only got this one. Yeah, I'm not that into it. So I would say if you're looking for something that's like vanilla frosting, vanilla toffee, or the rainbow chip vanilla cake, the Greenhorn is pretty good. The straight bourbon, if you only want to try one of them out, just try the straight bourbon. It's 95 proof. I got batch number 9, and it's 95 proof. Aged minimum 3 years. It gives you what you would expect from a bourbon, so it's pretty good. It's not bad. You can taste some young, like, youthfulness in it, but they have an interesting flavor going on. Just leaving it in the boathouse in the barrel for an extra year and then bottling it at 100 proof for that Bottled and Bond Captain's Reserve, I don't know if there's like a sweet spot when it comes to those small barrels, or maybe with, you know, how crazy the weather was last year, maybe this batch came out a little different. I don't know. I gotta find someone around here that has some of the other years and see if I can swap samples with them. Because the 2021 Captain's Reserve is a little off-putting with that sharp, bitter spike going on there. Regardless, Alan and his crew that I've met over at Chambers Bay, great people. I'm definitely going to be coming by there again. Thanks for hanging out for this Whiskey Quickie. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a good night. Keep your drinks wet. Cheers.